So when we think of the fragrance house Montale, a lot of times gourmand, oud, strong, and powerful are some descriptors that pop into our heads. I'm here to introduce you guys to Intense Pepper, which, despite its name, might not really be that intense. This is one of my favorite offerings from the house. I hope you stick around to watch this review. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Real Scent Review. Thanks for tuning in. Tonight I'm bringing you guys Intense Pepper from the house of Montale. I associate Montale with very strong, gourmand, sometimes oudy fragrances, because those are the fragrances that the house is most known for. Of course, I'm thinking of ones like Intense Cafe, Oud Edition, Arabian's Tonka, Nepal Oud, just to name a few. But this one here is one of the rare Montales that is actually a very pleasant, very accessible and agreeable scent for just about everybody out there. So going to start off with the presentation here. In typical Montale fashion, it comes with its own pouch. It feels like it's a little bit leathery on the outside, but I'm pretty sure it's just pleather. We have the strings here on either side that pull the pouch shut, and you just put the bottle in the pouch like so, to keep it nice and safe. The actual bottle here, like all Montales, looks like a metallic water bottle. I'm really not a fan of these bottle designs. They feel very lightweight and cheap. They have this contraption here that hangs off the side. What it is, it's a stopper of sorts. You push this in here underneath the cap so the cap cannot be pressed down. It's another supposed safety feature of the bottle to make sure it doesn't fire when you don't want it to. And as you can see here, it has this piece that hangs off the side and clangs into the side of the bottle. Very annoying. I really do not like these bottles. And another thing about Montale bottles, for example, this is a 100 milliliter bottle. It feels very lightweight. It feels like there's almost nothing in this. The reason why Montale bottles feel so lightweight is, first of all, because they're made of aluminum, so that means they can be made much thinner than glass bottles, and they offer the same protection. In fact, even better, because this will not shatter if you drop it. Other reason being, Montale does not fill the bottles up completely because they like to leave some air inside the bottle to allow the fragrance to keep maturing even after you buy it and you put it in your closet and forget about it for months. So this bottle is 100 milliliters. It's meant to hold 120 milliliters of liquid, but the actual amount of liquid is only 100 milliliters. So it leaves that extra 20 mils for, like I said, maturation purposes. Anyway, now that we have the presentation out of the way, let's get to the part that you've all been waiting for. It's not the best sprayer out there. I've experienced a lot better. It's slightly weak and it's not very wide. It doesn't shoot out very far. The distribution is not extremely strong, but you know, it gets the job done. Very nice smell here. So the notes that I detect are the following. In the top, I get some lemon and some pink pepper. In the mid, I get some black pepper. And in the dry down, I get some papyrus and cedar. So upon initial spray here, it's all about that lemon. You're gonna get a ton of lemon. To my nose, the lemon smells very natural. It's tart and it has an ever so slight bit of sweetness. Very realistic to my nose. I'm quite impressed with this lemon note here. Very nice. And in the top, it's mixed with a little tiny bit of pink pepper. Now, pink pepper has a little bit of spice to it, but it also has a nice floral tinge, kind of like a very light rose, but it's all about that lemon in the beginning here. The pink pepper is fairly difficult to detect. So in the mid is where it starts to live up to its name a little bit. We get some black pepper, very spicy black pepper. Again, Montale has done a great job recreating the smell of ground black pepper. I mean, it smells exactly like ground black pepper mixed with a lot of lemon. Now in the bottom, I get a very clean incense, and I'm pretty sure that's coming from papyrus. Papyrus has that, you know, pencil shaving smell that I love, and there's definitely some cedar in the bottom here. The cedar is giving it a nice light, fresh, woody, clean note in the bottom. Very nice scent here. Now I will be honest with you, the pepper is not intense. This is not an intense fragrance. It's not all about that pepper. Really, to me, what it's all about is that lemon, especially in the first half of the lifespan of this fragrance, dominated by that lemon note. And we get a little bit of that black pepper, but it's really not that powerful, the pepper note. And in the bottom, it's all about that papyrus and cedar, so it gives off a clean, slightly smoky incense accord. Don't get me wrong, smells incredible. It just is not all about that pepper for me. However, if you smell the cap does smell a lot like black pepper, but only if you sniff the cap. I find that goes away when you spray it on your skin. Anyway, that's just me. If you guys have tried this one, let me know what you think about that. And again, I'd like to touch on the name Intense Pepper. This is not an intense fragrance. Like I said in the beginning, Montale is known for their very strong, oftentimes gourmand and sometimes oudi fragrances, sometimes very oriental smelling and with incredibly strong performance. This does not fit into any of those categories. This is a fairly soft for a Montale scent, quite agreeable. I think you're gonna have trouble finding people who dislike this scent, so it's very well received by just about everybody I've ever shown this to. People tend to love it, but like I said, it's not intense really. Even if you dislike pepper, I have a feeling you might be able to grow to like this one because like I keep saying, the pepper's really not that prominent in this to my nose, and it's definitely not an intense fragrance. However, it does smell very good, and it's not a typical freshy, it's not like in the aquatic genre or anything, but I do think it definitely leans fresh. I think this would be great for hot weather. I also think it would be great for cooler weather. There's something about those notes of cedar and papyrus giving it that fresh, kind of clean, incensey feel that I think really pops in the cool weather. Maybe not so much cold weather, like in the dead of winter, for example, but cool weather, those notes to me really pop, but also in the hot weather. So really, wear this one whenever you want. I think it's just as much formal as it is casual. I think you could really wear this anytime, anywhere. The performance is good. I'd say probably for the first hour, close to an arm's length projection, maybe at an elbow's length for an extra half hour. And the longevity, I get about 7 hours total longevity on my skin. So for a Montale, this is definitely what I would call below average, but in the grand scheme of all perfumery, I'd say it's above average performance. And the smell itself is very natural. When I smell this, I think, oh, that's a lemon. Like I just squeezed a lemon onto my skin, which you should never do because that'll stain your skin and it could hurt you. I made that mistake before. And the pepper that is here smells very natural as well. Just like the cedar in the bottom, papyrus, all in all, very pleasant, realistic smell here. And coming from Montale, doesn't surprise me whatsoever. Now, a quick little note about the performance here. This does contain pepper. Now, pepper is known for causing anosmia very easily, which is nose blindness. The first few weeks I had this, I thought that I just wasn't getting any performance out of it. So I would spray it, and I'd immediately smell it, and then I wouldn't be able to smell anything afterwards. And I think it's because of that pepper that's contained as an ingredient in this. So because of the pepper that's in this, you might think that it's very weak if you smell it up close. Now the other thing is it's an eau de parfum concentration, which literally means that it has a higher concentration of essential oil and a lower concentration of alcohol compared to an eau de toilette or an eau fraiche, for example, which usually means that the fragrance sits closer to the skin. It's technically supposed to be heavier and, like I said, sit closer to the skin with less sillage, less projection than an eau de toilette. However, I do not think that that rule is invariable, and I think this absolutely is an exception as well, because like I said, if you try to smell this up close, you're not gonna get a huge, powerful whiff. However, if you wave your arm over here, for example, after you've sprayed it on your wrist, you could definitely smell wafts of this. I let a friend of mine sample this the other day, and when he was walking around inside my apartment, I could smell this like really well. Whereas if I sprayed it on my wrist and smelled it, I could barely smell anything. So keep that in mind. Even though it says it's an eau de parfum concentration, you can smell this more easily from a distance than you can up close. So anyway, I thought I'd throw that information out there for you guys just so that you didn't get disappointed like I was upon first testing of this. But now that I realize those things that I've just explained to you, this is definitely a much better fragrance than I initially thought, and I just love it. I love the way this smells. So I'm gonna name some similar fragrances to you guys. Bentley for Men Absolute smells a whole lot like this. The only difference is this one has that lemon note, which the Bentley does not. This one is stronger, slightly stronger. It's not beast mode like I said, and it does smell a lot more natural than Bentley for Men Absolute. Another one this definitely reminds me of is Comme des Garçons 2 Man, and it has a little bit less focus on the incense than the Comme des Garçons, but again, very similar scents. Also, this one has a lot of lemon, the CDG does not. And it definitely has a similar vibe to me to Encre Noire à l'Extrême, but there's no vetiver in this, but the dry downs of these two fragrances is very similar. Like I said, all about that papyrus and cedar, gives it a woody, ever so slightly fresh, clean incense feel in the dry down. So all in all, guys, Intense Pepper by Montale might not be intense, might not even be overly peppery. I still think it's a great fragrance. It's a compliment getter for sure. It just smells really nice and, you know, slightly different than a lot of things on the market right now. You don't always smell things like this out in public. Like I said, it's not one of those typical fresh aquatics, and it's definitely not a sweet gourmand either. It's a little bit unique, and I think it just smells awesome. And at $90 for a 100 milliliter bottle, which you can get on FragranceNet, this is an absolute great buy. Like I said, if you're fans of fragrances like Bentley for Men Absolute, but you just want a little bit better performance, pick this one up. You're not going to be disappointed. It's a great one, and out of the whole Montale repertoire, it's definitely one of the more easygoing and one of their most mass appealing. So guys, that's been my review of Intense Pepper by Montale. Hope you've enjoyed it. Until next time, keep it real.